Thank you very much for accepting the invitation. Let's start, from the beginning. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? So can you tell me who is Yusra?
Yes, for sure. Thank you for having me today. My name is Yusra. I'm a solutions architect at AWS. I just started at AWS about a year and 2 months ago. I live in Toronto, and outside of that, I recently picked up biking, really enjoy cooking, and just exploring the city. I'm new to Toronto as well, so I've been doing a lot of exploring when there isn't lockdown.
Where have you been living before Toronto?
Yeah, so before that, I lived in Mississauga for my previous role.
Okay.
And before that, I grew up in London, Ontario, so just a 2-hour drive down from Toronto.
Awesome. And so can you tell us maybe a little bit more about your education, where you grew up, the type of education you wanted to pursue, for example, when you was a kid, and then how it, did it turn to be? I know that, for example, when I was a kid, I dreamed of being a, pilot. I know that's a cliche, plane pilot,
yeah.
But here I am, not a pilot. So can you, just tell us a little bit about your education?
For sure, yeah. So I did high school in London, Ontario, and throughout high school I've always wanted to be an architect, funnily enough, but an architect for buildings.
Wow.
So designing buildings and just kind of bridging both the arts, the creative side, and then also the engineering side as well. So that's what I wanted to do, and now I'm I'm an architect, but a different kind. I'm an architect for applications and things like that. Yeah, for software, yes. After high school, I went to Western University for computer science, and then I focused my undergrad degree, my bachelor's degree, more around software engineering. So that just meant like extra courses on software architecture, software, object-oriented programming, just kind of the software design and that aspect of software. Yeah, and that was my bachelor's degree. Really enjoyed it. Western's a great place to be.
Awesome. And why did you choose, computer science to specialize in?
So I took a course in high school that taught Java,
Okay.
and that was my first exposure to programming.
Okay.
Yeah. And I just found it fascinating that you can write a few lines of code and create all sorts of things with programming. And then I fell in love with the discipline.
Yeah.
And then I decided, and I did well with coding and software. And then I found out that there's a lot more to it, and there's so much that you can do in this field. And that's why I chose computer science.
I get you 100%. Part of why I felt in love with programming is, for me, just this ability to give an order and then to see the machine execute the order right now, right away. There's no, oh wait, I'm tired.
Yeah.
So this is part of, this whole discipline. And this, once you get your thoughts, you put them together, you build them in a way that the machine can understand them. You could be 100% sure that it's going to be executed the way you want it to be executed. Yeah. So there's no room for, yes, there's bugs, but there's no room of maybe or probably, or it's so deterministic. And this was one of the ways, that one of the things that made me fall in love with computer science in general. Maybe it's unrelated. What are your thoughts about Java as a language? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Some people have strong opinions on Java. Do you think it's it's still a modern language? What do you think about it?
Yeah, I think if depends on your learning journey. If you start off with Python and then learn Java, that might throw you off, and you probably won't like the extra syntax, the unnecessary syntax and semicolons. You wouldn't want that. But I personally started off with Java, so that was the first language I've learned. It taught me a lot, so I'm not complaining. Python's definitely a lot, or more modern languages, I guess, that require fewer lines of code that execute what you want to execute a lot easier and faster, might be more efficient.
Java being verbose is one of the things I always hated about it. So at which part of your journey did you decide to join the Tech U program? And we'll talk a little bit later about what is Tech U, but just I want to know, at which part you started considering it.
So just kind of backtracking a little bit. So after I graduated, I worked at Bell as a network engineer, which was a little bit different than what my background was in. I did radio frequency engineering, so designing cell towers, designing the network.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different. And as part of that role, I noticed how there was a lot of room for two things. One was a lot of data that we can get insights from. And then the second part was I noticed how repetitive the role was. I found it a little bit more challenging to see the impact of the technology there. And then I came across the Tech U program that is more on the software side, and you're able to kind of bridge the technology and impact, all while helping people. And that's why I chose Tech U and applied there.
I see. Yeah, that's an interesting approach. I know as Amazonians, at least once a day we will say, oh, that doesn't scale. At least once a day, oh, that's not scalable.
Yeah.
So I like the approach. So you found out that there's a lot of data that is not harnessed, right? And it's just not used, which is a waste, unfortunately. And then you notice that there's repetition, and that's when you started looking, like you were like, oh, there must be a better way, right, of doing this. And that's when you started looking, right, and that's when you started searching, and that's when you stumbled upon the Tech U program. That's actually a pretty good point, because I thought, I haven't gone through the Tech U program, and part of the reasons why you're here to clarify these concepts. I thought that you could only join the Tech U program after, once you're freshly graduated from school. But here you are, you actually had experience and you worked before, and then you were able to join the Tech U program.
Yeah, and the experience that I had after graduation was only like a few months, less than a year. Yeah, I think depending on the program, there is a requirement that a few being a new grad, and it could be a few months after your graduation as well, I believe. Okay, that's good. That's actually a good thing to clarify. And so we've been turning around the subject for a bit. So let's talk about what is the Tech U program. Its structure, how does it work, and we could get into more questions like how you join it, later. But just maybe an overview. Yes, for sure. So Tech U is a ramp-up program for new grads to ramp up their cloud skills and also to kind of train them into different roles to prepare them for various roles within the cloud. And those roles include solutions architect, technical account manager, professional services consultant, among others as well. Within Tech U, you ramp up your cloud knowledge and you also practice your customer-facing experience as well. And at the same time, you're also ramping up your soft skills and being able to kind of understand how to present better, things like, presentation, being able to understand the customer's main drivers, and just the different soft skills as well that comes with customer-facing roles.
Perfect. And so it's not just, one size fits all. It's not just one job. You can join the Tech U program and become a solutions architect, or you can join it and become an account manager. So there's multiple disciplines, right, through the Tech U program. And do you have to choose which discipline to go for from the beginning, or is it something that you do at the end?
So you would apply to the specific track that you would want to pursue. So in my case, I applied to our solutions architect track.
Okay.
However, there are people within Tech U that have switched tracks throughout their journey. Yeah.
Okay, so that is allowed.
Yeah. So it is possible.
And how long does it take to graduate?
So 6 months, that's the training, initial training part, and then followed by 6 months on-the-job training where you're on the roll and basically performing essay activities. So becoming,
Good. I read somewhere that there's also compensation that comes with it. Are you compensated through the program or only for the second half of the program, or how does it go?
Yeah, so you're paid from the beginning. So you're compensated from the beginning of the program. Yeah, so it's a fully paid program for the 6 months training, and then after all, it's a full-time job, both the training and on the job. Yeah.
That's great. So AWS pretty much, you're hired, right? Once you get accepted, you're pretty much considered as an employee. It's just that AWS invests in you, and as a freshly graduate, or even with someone who has experience, so invests in you to show you the ropes and about the cloud, and then you're pretty much guaranteed a job at the end of the program, given that you show enough discipline, and then you're able to graduate. From your perspective, what are the benefits, of joining the Tech U program versus, let's say, studying on your own? And because I know that a lot of people who wants to join AWS or Amazon, they take on this journey of studying and getting certificates, passing exams, and then joining other programs for mentorship and coaching. Could you tell me from your own experience, what are the benefits of being part of the Tech U program?
Yeah, for sure. So first of all, you're with a cohort, so you're working alongside other like-minded people that are going through the same journey as you. That's one. So you're going through all of the different modules, all of the different, customer simulation scenario, and you're getting a lot of feedback from both your peers and tenured SAs and tenured technical account managers and tenured Amazonians that have been on the job. So you have access to a large group of resources, both people and technical resources and all kinds of resources within Amazon that are there to help you and that are there to make sure that you succeed. Okay.
So we pretty much, Amazon takes care of you since the first day that you join the program, and then you get experienced people to help you and coach you. And I know that Andy Jassy likes to say that there's no compression algorithm for experience. But I think when you get someone who has 10 years experience, 20 years experience as a coach, as a mentor, or as someone you work with, I think he could, sometimes give you one sentence, one advice that summarize, 20 years of experience. So that helps a lot. So I think that's a great opportunity to get shortcuts, to get a big shortcut to where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. And the role of a solutions architect is usually held by many, many years of experience, and you require lots of kind of background to be able to perform this role. So having this program to help you ramp up and get that kind of push into a role that usually would require many, many years of experience is a great opportunity.
Were there some people in your cohort that didn't have a computer science background? Were there people who come from, okay, please, go ahead.
Yeah, so there are people that have had business background or any other kind of background. It's more about your willingness to learn. If you're passionate about this role, you have a little bit of background about concepts on networking, databases, security, and the various kind of the various concepts that go into the cloud, and you're ready to learn and ramp up your knowledge on AWS, and you're eager to help customers and clients, then Tech U is the place for you to be.
I'm actually, my girlfriend she has a finance track, right? Economics and finance, and she's being more and more interested now about the cloud, about AWS. So I was actually wondering, this question was for me. I was actually wondering whether to just start, talking to her more about it. What would you say was the hardest thing about the program, about the whole year? Maybe, you know what? Maybe let's talk about the first half parts of the program, the theory part of it. What was the hard thing about it? And then once you joined AWS, what was the hard thing about that second half as well?
I think the hardest part for me initially was, you have all of this technical knowledge and background from the theory aspect. How do I translate that into solutions for customers? As part of the Tech U program, we had customer simulation conversations. How do I really understand what the customer wants to translate my technical expertise into a solution for them, for this simulated customer? And I found that to be kind of the most challenging. And just because it's most challenging, it was also the most opportunity, I want to say, to learn, and it's the learning there is ongoing. So we're always kind of learning about different personality types and different problems for different customers, and how we could use our technical expertise to solve these problems, and not just solve their problems, but solving the right problem.
What about the second part of the program? Would you say that that was the same thing, or did you face different type of challenges, or did you notice that people from your cohort, did you notice a pattern, for example?
For me personally, again, like my previous role or in university, I'm used to certainty. So you know what the problem is and you have to solve it. Whereas there's a lot of ambiguity in this role. So that's something that
well said.
is constantly challenging to me. So lots of ambiguity and kind of digging deeper into that ambiguity, pinpointing what the right problem is for you to solve it.
Right. Because sometimes, also in my experience, when I talk with customers and they come up with a problem, sometimes that's not the problem. Sometimes that's just a symptom of the problems, or sometimes, so you need to ask there's some people who say you need to ask 5 whys. For example, my website doesn't handle load. Okay, why? Oh, because from time to time I push new products. Why? Oh, because business wants to do it. Why? Oh, because there's Black Friday. Oh, okay. So because there's Black Friday, then there's this spikes, right? So sometimes there are some hidden truth that you need to uncover, which is part of, I think, the solutions architect role, is being able to put that detective hat and try to deep dive until you find the source and the roots of the problem. Also, you should be able to, I would say, break what's already there in order to fix it. Right? Sometimes we work within the framework. Sometimes customers are afraid, or sometimes the realities of the business doesn't allow to rewrite stuff. But sometimes once you reach that root of the problem, you should be able to take a big hammer and say, guys, this is not scalable. We need to break this and we need to write it. So we talk about the hardest stuff and the challenging stuff. How about the most enjoyable things that you, were there any things that you enjoyed most in this program?
Yeah, so there's 2 sides of that coin, right?
All right.
So I talked about the most challenging part, right, which was the translating the ambiguity part. But I also found that to be the most enjoyable as well.
Please go ahead.
So the customer conversations, the customer simulation conversations, what we call demo days in Tech U, where you're presented with a problem. Again, it was a lot less ambiguous than when you're on the job. These demo days, but they really kind of give you insight into kind of a simulated customer conversation. So we had sprints within Tech U. Every sprint you learn about a different module. With every 2 sprints we had a demo day. You kind of translate what you've learned so far in terms of the technology into that customer scenario. And kind of, I personally really enjoyed having that conversation with a customer and finally kind of translating the theory that I've learned into a solution and then seeing the impact of that technology and where it fits within this customer scenario. So it's like, the theory behind the technology, but this is how it's impactful. This is how it affects a real life scenario, which really puts things into perspective and makes work more meaningful.
Oh yeah, you get that satisfaction, from where obsessed about customers, at AWS, and you get that satisfaction when you solve their problems and you see them happy, right? Because that means you gain their trust, and that means you can help them to solve other problems. So I think that's an important aspect. And just right now, my eyes started hurting and I realized that I'm not even wearing my glasses. I was asking myself, why are my eyes hurting? Yeah. Okay, I completely forgot. Once you are customer ready, customer facing ready, and once you are able to talk with customers and directly interact with them, do you get, at the beginning, do you get some onboarding buddy? Do you get a mentor? Do you get someone to help you?
Yeah. So you're paired up with a tenured SA. You do get a mentor that helps you along onboarding to help you kind of ramp up before you go see customers yourself. So that's really nice because you get that kind of extra leeway to make sure that you're comfortable speaking to customers and you're comfortable going into the field.
I was not part of Tech U program, but even that, I got an onboarding buddy, I got a mentor, and I got people I could ask all kinds of questions. They were there to help. Sure, yeah. I think that's a great move on Amazon. From Amazon's perspective, to just make sure that you get help from the get-go. Because I've been in a lot of companies where you join and here's your laptop. here's your screen, here's the repo, here's the code. All right, it's up to you to figure things out. And I think it doesn't always help, But by doing it this way, it helps in that knowledge transfer, and it helps into getting quickly into a place where you're, productive and you're able to help customers. If you had to do it again, if you had to join AWS again, given what you know right now, given the experience that you have right now, would you go through the Tech U program?
I think I would. I would do it again. Yeah, I would definitely go through the Tech U program again. And then every time I would go through it again, I'd kind of keep in mind the things that I would do differently. And then that way I'll make even more use of it. Like, for example, I know how the relationships I've built throughout Tech U have really, really been helpful throughout my journey after Tech U as well. If I were to go back, then I'd have more of that. So I'd make sure that I build relationships with everyone who was there, because you're working alongside super, incredible and very intelligent people. It's really important to kind of maintain those relationships as well.
Great advice. Yeah. Great advice, people. You advance in life by making friends, right? Not by making enemies. That's a great advice, and especially when you have the chance to be partnered up with, as you mentioned, intelligent people, smart people, might as well, take advantage of it. Might as well learn from them.
And everyone at Amazon, not just your mentor, not just your team, wants to see you succeed. So you have a great amount, an army of people that are there to help you and to see you succeed, which is an incredible opportunity to have. Yeah.
That's a great way of putting it. An army. I always tell people when I'm talking with my customers, and even if I'm not able to solve your specific problem, don't worry. I have an army behind me, specialists, and they're ready to jump in and to help. That's really great. Working at AWS is not your first job. Could you probably maybe compare, working at Amazon versus your first experience? Working at Amazon right now as a solutions architect versus the first experience that you had.
Yeah, so I already mentioned the ambiguity part that results in lots of learning and lots of growth. But besides that, it's also very fast-paced. I've heard someone say that the AWS is like the candy store for people who love technology. Yes, it's fast-paced, but there's a lot of things that are changing. There's a lot of things that are being launched every day with AWS. But again, that just means it's the candy store if you love technology. So there's a lot to learn, and it's just it's a great place to be.
I couldn't agree more. For people who like technology and love technology, it is trying to find the better expression, but there's candy store is the best one. I think you get, regardless what you are interested in, and whether it's data analytics, whether it's building applications, deploying AI, machine learning, IoT, you're sure that you're going to be challenged. You're sure that you're going to be working with top edge technologies, solving interesting, challenging problems. So I like the candy store. I'm going to ask you for permission to use this expression going forward. Going back to the Tech U program, could you put a number on the percentage of graduation, especially on your cohorts? Would you say that 100% of the people who joined graduated? Or is it a lower percentage? And I don't know, maybe you can speak to the reasons that other people, I know you can't speak, you can't put words in other people's mouth and speak about their experience, but just maybe from your perspective, maybe some challenges that you've seen that some people faced and which forced them to maybe drop out or not be able to graduate. Can you maybe speak a little bit to that?
So Tech U and the Solutions Architect role at AWS is not like other roles like we've mentioned in any other place, right? So it is fast-paced, it's challenging, but it's also a place where you learn a lot and you grow a lot as well. And again, you have a lot of resources within Amazon to help you succeed. And I think that contributed as a major factor to make sure that everyone is doing well and everyone succeeds in their roles.
And while you were looking for the Tech U program, have you stumbled upon other similar programs maybe coming from other cloud providers? Did you at any point had to choose between going for a different program or Tech U, and could you speak a little bit to that?
I've seen new grad programs at other companies. I haven't seen any for other cloud providers, not that I've personally come across any of them. I've seen new grad programs where you have your training and then you have your on-the-job training as well. But in terms of cloud with cutting-edge technologies and with a cloud provider role, specifically a solutions architect role, I personally haven't come across any. I'm not sure if they exist. Yeah.
Is the solutions architect role everything you thought it would be? Did you have different expectations going through the program, and then once you got to the job, you found out that those are different? Did the program paint a different picture than what it really is? Or is it really everything you thought it would be, and there's no surprise there, you were prepared for it?
Yeah. So something we've mentioned so far in our conversation is ambiguity, right? I didn't think it was that ambiguous as it is. I thought it would be a lot more clear and definitive. Well, this is the problem, this is the solution. And then as a solutions architect, I step in, give them the solution. So it wasn't like that. But at the same time, that ambiguity reflects the real life problems that exist, both in the industry and in life in general, right? It's not always definitive, it's not always clear. And then given that this is like one of, pretty early on in my career, so that ambiguity was something new to me and I did not see it coming, I did not expect it. So it's just the ambiguity component that I did not expect. But it's very similar to what I've expected, it's just that there's a lot more to it than I thought it would have.
I get you. So basically, there's not a straight route from point A to point B. A solutions architect should be a problem solver, right? Able to solve that ambiguity and go through the layers and uncover all the truths until you get to the solution. I think we agree to be a good solutions architect, you need to be a problem solver. You need to be a good listener. You need to be someone who can, focus. This is something that keeps coming back again and again and again. And my girlfriend, when she wanted to learn Python, she asked me, how can I learn, or can I actually learn programming language? What do I need? And my answer, I think, was all you need is focus. All you need is the ability to stay in front of the computer and focus for at least 3, 4, 5 hours at a time. I think that's something that we lost recently with, computers, notifications, phones. We lost that ability to focus. Our focus span has been reduced a lot. But I think if you're able, a job of a solutions architect requires you some time to just put heads on, put whatever headphones on, put whatever music you like to listen to, and just get into that zone for hours at a time. It's like a detective job trying to go through that ambiguity until you find that light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's a great metaphor that you're given. I think it's one of the biggest assets that someone who wants, aspiring solutions architect should consider. You've been with Amazon right now through how much? It's been more than a year now?
Yeah, a year and about a month, yeah.
Okay, cool. So what are your plans for the next 5 years? And then you'll tell me for the next 10 years.
That's a difficult question. Again, there's no going from point A to point B, right? Like you mentioned, I love technology, and then I know I also love helping people and solving problems. So I'll continue to do that, and who knows where I'll take these 3 kind of passions that I have, and where I'll end up in 5 years. But I know it'll have to be somewhere at the intersection of technology, helping people, and making an impact.
That's actually a great plan. It's super hard to, with the rates that technology is moving right now, it's super hard to say in 5 years I'm going to be doing that, because maybe some of the jobs that are going to be here in 5 days we haven't even invented yet, right? Who knows what jobs we're going to have in 10 years. So I think that's the right approach, to just stay flexible, keeping eyes open, and then trying to always find that intersection, between technology and people, which is pretty much our mission at AWS. Is there anything else you'd like to add for people who are maybe looking to join the Tech U program, or in general who are looking to join AWS and they have a lot of options available, is there anything you want to add?
Yeah, I think if you have any remote interest in cloud and technology, I think you should go for it. I think a lot of people stay away from applying to, any major cloud provider, any major tech company, a lot because of self-limiting beliefs. So I think if you are interested and you see yourself doing this job, but you're afraid of the interview, or you're afraid of what could go wrong, or you're afraid of rejection, to just go for it. Just apply and then just go for it. And it's a little bit hard for many, especially university graduates, to overcome self-limiting beliefs. So I say, if you are at all remotely interested or remotely intrigued by this role, the least you can do is just kind of put together an application and just try. Yeah.
Try. There's nothing to lose. That's that's good. When I find myself struggling with decisions like this, I always adopt the same mindset. I always say, okay, I'm gonna do the application, and then later, if I get accepted, then I'll choose whether to go for it or not. But at least, you make that first step. You just throw it there to the universe, and you let the universe do its work. Thank you very much, Yusra. It has been a real pleasure to have you with us today. Where can people find you on social media? Maybe you want to share your LinkedIn or something?
For sure, yeah. Feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Yusra Al-Sharafi. So feel free to message me if there's anything at all that I can help with, or you have any questions, or would like to chat just about cloud or anything else. Feel free to ping me. I'm happy to chat.
Awesome, great. And I'll make sure to include your LinkedIn link into the video as well and into the description.
Great.
So thank you very much,
you so
and
much.
have a good day.
Thanks for having me. All right, take care.
Pleasure. Bye.